Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fanatics Media Radio, brought to you by the soft, sultry voice of Kevin Stonegood Rockwell. How are you, James?
I'm creeped out.
Hello, you're listening to FM Radio by Fanatics Media. How you doing, James?
I'm doing not too bad, all things considered.
Hey, James, I have a funny question. What events do you have planned coming up at Fanatics?
I have the let's not die of a deadly virus.
That is a great plan. You guys should all come over. I mean, don't come over. Stay right there and just Skype call in.
It's the exact same thing.
Do gamers even use Skype anymore, or is it all Discord?
It's all Discord. I don't think I've actually heard of anybody using Skype in, multiple years.
Like, what happened? Why did Skype go away?
Because the internet likes to change itself every 5 years. Remember back when everybody was using,
Nope.
oh god, what was it called?
You don't even remember.
TeamSpeak?
Oh my god, TeamSpeak? TeamSpeak was during the Skype to Discord transition, though.
I don't know about that.
TeamSpeak was definitely after Skype.
I used TeamSpeak.
Like during and then after.
I feel like I used TeamSpeak before Skype, but I don't know. That and Ventrilo and all the other failed voice things. And now we're all on Discord.
Yay, Discord. But this is a board games, James. How are you doing down south?
I was actually just thinking the exact same sentence. Well, like I said, we haven't been hit that hard by it. A lot of places, us included, went ahead and closed down our gaming space to kind of keep people separated. We've been selling a ton of board games to people coming in, picking up some new games to kind of hang out at their house and pass the time with, so that's been nice. Personally, I've been spending a lot of time on online gaming, so Tabletop Simulator, Pokemon trading card game online, things like that. I've been talking to some of our local Pokemon players, seeing if we can get a store-ran tournament going. Basically the same idea, everybody pays their entry fee with PayPal and it gets paid out at the end of the tournament, and everybody just plays on TCGO.
Oh, that's a good idea. You could even play medieval style, where you get a really long table and you have a bunch of food in the middle, and then one mat on one side at one head of the table and then another mat at the other, and then you just play that far away.
I mean, if there's any trading card game that would work that way, it would be Pokemon, because there's no interaction between the two players.
Yeah, they don't have to touch each other's cards. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Just yell out everything that you're doing and you're good to go.
Yeah. Good sir, I play Palkia. Right?
ADP, there you go. Yeah, that's basically how I've been passing my time, just doing some online stuff, getting a lot more painting done, and some experimenting with my 3D printer that we just got. And yeah, that's about me. How about you? You doing anything to pass the time?
To pass the time, before the great GameStop closing of 2020, which in and of itself is a saga, I went to pick up my copy of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon: Rescue Team DX, which is a remake, or not even a remake. It's like a remastering. I hate that word. It's a redo, but better.
Why do you hate that word?
Remastering?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just sounds... I guess it's because it's so overused. I don't know. Well, Final Fantasy isn't even pulling any punches. It's Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's the title, right. Is Remake. With this Pokemon, they threw a DX at the end of it. So it's a complete rebuild, I have to say, of the original game, which came out on Game Boy Advance, or even before that, Game Boy Color. And they did it for Switch. And I've had some chance encounters with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and I've not done very well. And I beat it today. So,
nice, congrats.
Yeah, that was about 25 hours, maybe? That might be pushing it. It might be just 20 hours. So we had Pokemon-y weeks.
That's right. It has been very Pokemon heavy. But speaking about playing a game for 20 hours, I also may or may not have picked up The Sims 4 on sale for $5 and put 20 hours in on it in 2 days. So
What was your quest in Sims 4? Because I don't think there's like a beat it mentality of Sims.
yeah, no, there isn't. It's just keep going until you get bored and stop playing. So I created a completely random sim to start with, just like hit all the randomization buttons and went in. And he ended up being like a max out programmer and just built like $1 million house, no cheats, just all pure in-game work. And let me see, there was some while I was playing him, I kept thinking about how I don't like how quickly the Sims seem to like level up and change ages and die. So I was like, what would happen if I created a sim that found immortality, air quotes, and
Mm-hmm.
just like reset his age every time that he aged up and just went through the game and leveled everything out to max? And the answer is that it gets boring really quickly. But
Oh.
at the start of that, I made my sim like one of me, and I wanted to go in as like a scientist and have that sim go in and like through being a scientist find the cure for like aging,
Okay.
and
I see you
found out
RPing pretty hard here.
right, I yeah, that's what I do. But so I found out scientist isn't part of the base game because of course
Ah.
it's not. So I was like, well, what do I do now? And I saw retail worker was on there, and I was like, all right, well, I guess this is real
No.
life. Click.
No.
And it was so bad because like you start the game off, and 2 days after I started the game, it was time for bills to be due. And I started on like Friday, and my first shift wasn't until a Monday, so I had no money.
Oh,
And I got a bill
jeez.
for 2 days, and they were like, "Your bills or your power is going to be shut off in 24 hours." And I was like, "I haven't even started working yet. This is too real." Like I was not expecting to go in there and just immediately be besieged by, "Oh crap, how am I going to pay my bills?"
Do you want to just go to micro D&D?
Yes, but before that, I do want to mention really quickly that Starlight Kickstarter has been launched for about 2 weeks now, and it had a 50,000 Canadian, which is what its base like currency is in, or 35,000 US goal. It hit that in 17 minutes, and it's currently sitting at 528,000 Canadian.
Dope.
So it is doing exceptionally well, and it is about 25,000 away from its last stretch goal. And I could not wait to have this game delivered to me in like a year because that's how Kickstarter works. And I'll just sit here wanting it and not having it.
I want it too. Okay. Let's do micro D&D. I woke up.
You found out that all of your supplies, food-wise, have been rummaged through the night. And you take a quick look at your bag and can kind of figure out that it looks like a wild animal got into it. So, what is your plan? What are you doing?
I'm pretty upset. That's the first thing. I'm mad.
Rip.
Oh, negative points. You totally broke
And,
my immersion.
and it wasn't even a good notification sound.
I know I probably don't have the proper skills to track this beast that ate my food that I worked so hard for.
So hard.
I have zero food, right? I have no rations anymore.
Yep, you have been completely rationed out.
So I gotta eat. Okay, so I'm gonna stand up because I'm only a few feet away from the river. And I'm gonna go back into the river.
Okay.
I'm looking for fish again.
Alright, give me that survival check.
5.
Okay. So, you wake up, you're upset all your food's gone, you gather your supplies and walk down to the river to fish again and try and get stocked back up. And you wade out into the water and take a look around. And unfortunately, at this point in time, it looks like there are just no fish near you.
I'm all wet. For
That's what she
nothing.
said.
For nothing.
For nothing.
Okay. I gotta find food. So I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna wade out of the water and continue north. Following. Or is it downriver or is it upriver to go north?
It would be upriver.
Upriver. So I'm heading upriver north, and while I'm walking, I'm constantly checking for fruits and berries.
Okay. So you know at this point you've traveled through the forest for a good part of a day. Uh, you think that if you can make good time, that you might be able to make it out of the forest by end of day today, and then from there you've probably only got about half a day further travel to the town itself. So go ahead and give me uh, let me see. Go ahead and start off with another survival check, and we'll see how good you're following through the forest.
11.
Well, all right. You're following along the river, so it's not too hard to kind of keep track of your trail. And what's your passive perception?
8.
8. Okay. And you're kind of keeping track of berries and trying to find things that you can eat. You find a couple things here and there that you think are edible and not poisonous, but you don't really find enough to subsist yourself on. About half the day's gone, and you see what looks like a almost man-made trail kind of leading off to the northeast
And that's towards Torah?
towards Torah.
But the river brings me just straight north, right?
Correct.
I don't like roads right now. If I stay on the river, will I eventually come out of the forest?
Eventually, yeah.
Like into a field, or like is it just forest for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles?
Give me a nature check.
19.
You know from your extensive studies at the castle that this river will take you out to the northern end of the forest by the end of the day into a small plains leading towards Sora.
Okay, I want the plains. I don't want to
Alright.
go on a man-made trail. That just seems sketch. I hate it. I don't like that.
Alright. Well, by the end of the day, you manage to breach the tree line on the other side of the forest.
So I'm out in the field. Are there any grazing animals?
Give me a perception check.
Oh, I hate perception.
It's okay, perception hates you too.
It's 8.
It's 8.
Yeah.
You see a lone deer about 200 feet out in front of you.
I want to put it to sleep. Wait, 200 feet you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I need to get within 90 feet. I want to stealth my way really low in the underbrush towards the deer.
You got it. Give me that roll.
I don't want to say it. 5.
All right, so you
My
crouch
food.
down low. You crouch down low, and you go full-on predator mode, and you're just crawling through the brush, and you grab a hold of some large grass to kind of move it out of your way. And when you do, you look up, and the deer's looking you dead in the eyes. It just takes off running.
So it takes off running. Will I be fast enough to cast sleep? Because he's like right next to me. Will I be fast enough to do it?
Give me a dexterity check.
21.
All right. So you didn't quite get there as silently as you thought, but you are a quick enough, or you do have a quick enough reaction to immediately jump up and start casting your spell as the deer starts rebounding away. So go ahead and give me those 5d8.
5d8. So I have 1d8.
And in fact, just go ahead and let me know the numbers one at a time because it's a very low number that you have to hit.
Dang it. 3.
All right, roll one more.
6.
All right, that's high enough. So the deer rebounds off, and you throw your spell out, and it lands onto the deer, and you see it kind of slow down and stumble, and it just face plants into the earth.
Okay. I'm going to kill it with my rapier.
All right, so walk up to it, and you're going to do an action that is called a coup de grace.
Oh, cool.
In D&D 5th, there's not technically a coup de grace rule like there were in older editions, But the rule is if you're going up against a unconscious or paralyzed creature or something that is tied up and can't defend itself, all of your attacks are automatic crits.
Wow. What do I roll?
So you roll your normal attack, but you double all dice that you roll.
Okay, so my normal attack, is that just strength?
If you take a look at your sheet under
Mm-hmm.
actions, you can see your rapier, and it'll give you your plus to hit and then your
Oh,
damage.
yeah, okay, so it's +5 to hit.
Well,
So
you don't need to roll the hit because it's an auto
it's
crit.
hitting. So it's
So
1d8 plus 3 piercing.
so a crit would be 2d8 plus 3.
Okay, so I'm going to roll 2. 15.
15? Okay.
Yeah, it's
And
now a dead deer, right?
it is now a very dead deer.
Do I know how to carve this deer?
Give me that nature check.
6.
So you've never done it before. You've read about it a little bit in the castle, and you know enough about edible food that you can carve off some meat, although it won't really be the best use of the deer's body.
Okay. And I would like to have dinner because it's late.
Yep, it is close to nightfall. So where would you like to set up camp and have your dinner?
I'll backtrack back to the woods a little bit.
Okay, so you'll backtrack back into the woods, set up your campsite, and start grilling your food, and you are pretty much set for the night.
Yay! Now, is that deer's not good for, like, I have some extra deer meat kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, like, you could technically spend some time trying to, like, make some deer jerky and just, like, try and dry out the meat and things like that, but
That would take way too long. I want to get to
yeah.
the city.
You're only, remember, yeah, and you're only about half a day's travel from the city, so you shouldn't be too hard off.
Yeah. I'll let the buzzards get the rest of that deer.
There you go. Well, all right, that is micro D&D.
Wowzers, dude. You're making it really small today.